race across the galaxy, and blast apart your enemies as the Empire or New Republic. Hello friends, my name is Codiak, one half of the team behind Legacy Gaming, and today we're diving into Star Wars Squadrons to determine if it's truly worth your time. For those of you keeping score, Star Wars Squadrons is the latest in the long line of Star Wars games that goes back to the early 1980s. The game is centered around aerial combat, with players taking control of pilots on both sides of a galactic conflict. Unlike previous aerial combat Star Wars games, Squadrons really leans into flight simulation mechanics, and it's apparent right from the very beginning. From the second you hop into an X-Wing or TIE fighter, you'll be manipulating the various systems, all in an attempt to fly better and kill faster. It's also one of the first Star Wars games to really make VR a centerpiece of its design, and while I didn't get the chance to test out the game's virtual reality, I found the experience plenty satisfying without. Squadrons is as close as any of us will ever get to actually flying some of the legendary vehicles from the Star Wars universe. The inside of each ship is perfectly crafted to give you that authentic Star Wars feeling, with a slew of buttons and lights strewn about, making the experience authentic. Unlike in previous aerial Star Wars games, these buttons matter, and you'll quickly learn that almost everything has a purpose or function. You'll see readouts on how many missiles are available, how much health your hull has, but it's the manipulated elements that really make the flying complete. You'll spend every second in the air managing your power systems, boosting your engines, shields, or weapons. By doing so, you'll gain access to some perks, and it's those benefits that will help you stay flying. Juice your engines and you'll have access to faster top speeds and even a rocket boost. Push power to your weapons and watch as your lasers cut through shields faster and recharge just as quick. It's the most micromanaging you'll do while in the game, and while some may not enjoy the constant manipulation, it's hard to argue that it doesn't add to the immersion. Getting the hang of the various systems also means learning the ins and outs of each ship. Each side, the New Republic and Galactic Empire, have 4 vehicles, each designed for a specific purpose. Fighters, interceptors, bombers, and utility ships all bring something unique to the fight, and they each have their own quirks and nuances. Add on to this the customization options, and you're looking at hundreds of ways to build out each ship. What I can only describe as a modern loadout system, you'll spend in-game currency unlocking various modifications to your ships, which will change up your flying capabilities. It's a trade-off, with new weapons, shields, and engines boosting one aspect of flight while taking away from another. It's great that EA has learned from its mistakes of the past and presents a rather fair and balanced upgrade system with no pay to win. After just a few online matches, I found I could upgrade what I wanted when I wanted, and the remaining unlockables were easy enough to get with just a bit more time. With your ship ready to go and some basics under your belt, it's time to hit the skies. Whether you're playing in the game's campaign mode or multiplayer, it all boils down to the flying. Pilots facing off on either side of a battlefield, pushing objectives and thinning out the enemy. Up until this point, things have been pretty straightforward. Systems I think anyone can easily wrap their head around. But once the flying starts, things get a little dicey. The experience is immersive, I don't think anyone can argue that. But there is a level of sophistication and complexity to flying in Squadrons that I don't think will come naturally to many people. It's the perfect example of easy to learn, hard to master, and even after a dozen hours in the game, I was still struggling to just hang in. The game itself isn't inherently hard, but there is a natural challenge to playing Squadrons. This is where the flight sim aspect of the game really takes over and will either make or break your experience. I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert at flight sims, I'm not. I don't use a hottest system, no custom flight share, just a guy that enjoys this type of game, and let me be clear. While I don't think the gameplay is bad, it's definitely not for everyone. There's a reason this game has already seen a decline in its concurrent player base, and it's because Squadrons is, for all intents and purposes, a niche game that satisfies a voracious, yet specific, crowd. If you can't get the hang of flying or find it too complex, the game does offer plenty of options to try and keep you invested, but the truth is, most players won't take the time to get to that point. For anyone that's played the Starfighter Assault mode of Battlefront 2, realize that this is not that game mode, and things just function differently. While Battlefront 2's aerial mode put an emphasis on shock and awe, Squadrons puts that same emphasis on skill and immersion. If you do manage to get past the learning curve, get the hang of flying, there's enough for you to enjoy. The campaign mode attempts to inject some story into the game, and I'll be honest, it's fine. Star Wars fans will enjoy the changing perspective, swapping back and forth from Republic to Empire, but there's nothing groundbreaking here. Squadrons attempts to inject life into every aspect of the campaign with side conversations, mission briefings, and constant comms chatter during every mission, and yeah, it's all okay. Is it a Star Wars masterpiece? No, but it will help you connect with what's going on. In terms of the multiplayer, this is definitely the biggest letdown as the two modes, Dogfight and Fleet Assault, just feel lifeless. Some of the maps are great and add depth to the combat, but there isn't enough here in either game mode that results in a satisfying experience. The game's flagship mode, Fleet Assault, is a tug-of-war style game with both sides pushing the other to see who can destroy the capital ship first. You'll fight other pilots, some lesser AI, and the capital ships themselves, but I never got to the point where I was really fulfilled with what's going on. There's a disconnect between what's happening and the player experience, and it's a real shame because this is supposed to be the pinnacle Squadrons moment, but it just misses more often than not. There are some enjoyable high points, but they're just too far and few between to really leave a lasting impression. So here we are at the end of the road, looking back at the question we opened this video with. Is Star Wars Squadrons worth your time? The answer is maybe. Squadrons does what it sets out to do, provide players with an immersive Star Wars flight simulator that hardcore fans will be playing for years to come. But for the rest of us, it's hard to get excited about what the game has to offer. The complexity and controls are clearly catered towards one type of player, and that's not most of us. I want to be clear, the game is decent and even casual players will get some enjoyment from it, but when considering all the aspects of Squadrons, it's a miss more often than a hit. I do think it will have some long-term relevance, but at the end of the day, it's destined to be played and forgotten. But then again, this is Star Wars, I'm sure there's another game somewhere right around the corner. We hope this video helped you figure out if Star Wars Squadrons is worth your time. If you enjoyed this series and want more worth your time videos in your feed, go ahead and hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing to Legacy Gaming. You can also check us out on Discord. Our community of over 6,000 members is spread across dozens of great games, so click that link below and join the Legacy. My name is Codiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.